Today we're going to talk about how to fix your posture and what it actually means to have good posture or bad posture. In the background here, I just have a workout I did the other day, as well as one final back exercise that I use to improve my posture. So first, let's go over what it means to have bad posture, how people describe bad posture. So usually if someone is standing in a very kyphotic way, you have like the forward head, the rounded shoulders, no sort of thoracic extension, people will describe that as bad posture. People usually point to how they sit at work or how they lounge as bad posture. And then good posture is just the complete opposite of that. So usually it's some extreme thoracic extension, like very erect, tall, high chin, open shoulders, chest forward, etc., etc. That is usually what people describe as good posture. But I would not describe that as good posture, and I would not describe what people consider bad posture as bad posture. Good posture is actually just your ability to have options to do both. So your ability to round your shoulders and lounge if you want to. Again, sitting, lounging, that's not bad, but also having the option to open up your shoulders. So good posture is having the option to do either extreme, and ideal posture in terms of a normal resting position if you're walking around, not lounging, is to fall somewhere in the middle. It's important to note that your spine is a slight S curve. So if you are straight up just like erect like that, that is actually not natural, and that is not good posture, and that should not be your goal because that's not how your spine actually is. Having a natural rounding like this in your shoulders is normal because that is the shape of your spine, the bones in your back. So your posture should slightly go like this, and this is your tailbone, your lower back, and then you come into the glutes. That should be the goal. So the first thing, since the vast majority of people do not have the option to move in between both, usually you'll see people who grew up playing sports, they'll have that super erect posture. They don't have the option to come into a kyphotic position. And then people usually who do not play sports or who are kind of stuck in a desk job, usually, I'm going to just pause this here before, oh no, we have one more. I'm going to pause that before we get to the final exercise that I had included. But usually those people are stuck in this kyphotic position and they don't have an option to open up. So I'm going to address that because that's the vast majority of people. And then at the end, I'll touch on what, athletes, people that are stuck in this super erect position should do. And then I will include some additional tips. So the first thing the vast majority of people should do is just strengthen their back. Most people don't work out their back because they can't see their back. When you go to the gym for the first time, you work out the muscles that you can see. You work out your biceps, you work out your quads, you work out your abs, you work out your chest, you work out your shoulders, because when you look in the mirror, that's what you see. I remember when I first started, that was my hair, when I first started working out, that's exactly what I did. I would only work out the show muscles, the muscles you can see. And then I remember going on a family trip and seeing a photo of me from the back, and I was actually disgusted. I was like, there is no way I look like that because I go to the gym all the time. Of course I look like that from the back because I've never trained my back, my posterior chain, my glutes, my hamstrings, my calves, my upper back, my lower back, my mid back, my rear delts, the backs of your shoulders. I've never trained those muscle groups, so why would I expect any sort of exceptional physique when it comes to my back? So that is where I would start. Some of my favorite back exercises include pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, or modified foot-assisted pull-up. I have a video on that I'll link below so you can figure out how to get your first pull-up. Did I do pull-up or push-ups? I actually think I did a video on push-ups, not pull-ups, but I can do one if you would like that. So I will not link it below because it doesn't exist yet. But pull-ups, assisted pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, chest-supported rows, which you saw in the beginning or the second video right here. These are chest-supported rows. These are one of my favorite back exercises. I will note that if you are someone who is more well endowed than I am, have boobs, this might be a little uncomfortable, so it's not an absolutely necessary exercise. But I'm not well endowed, so these feel perfectly fine for me, but these are another one of my favorite exercises because it takes the lower back out of the equation. If you have a weak lower back, which we will get to, but if you have a weak lower back, or if you feel like you have some sort of stiffness in doing things like barbell rows or pendlay rows is challenging for you, I want you to just support your chest when you're doing exercises because it takes that out of the equation. You don't have to worry about your lower back. You just row and get to the point. Finish there. So that, yep. So we have pull-ups, rows. I like single arm rows. I like seated cable rows. Honestly, all exercises work. Those two are the mainstays personally for me in my programs: chin-ups, pull-ups, rows, single arm rows, pull downs, lat pull downs, and the final exercise, which most people never train their rear delts, and it's a part of your rear delts, and your rear delts are a part of your back as well as your shoulder. So if you want to improve your shoulder health and improve the look of your back, the strength of your back, and your posture, this is going to open up your shoulders a little bit more if you have that rounded kyphotic look that I just mentioned. I want you to do face pulls. So this is, skip through. Here we go. I want you to do face pulls just like this. So you could see these are the rear delts right here, and then this is also going to work the upper back. And this movement is literally what you are trying to do for your posture. You're trying to open up this way. The goal for this movement, and this is a mistake I see, move my hair to the side, go like this. Something I see when people do the face pull is when they pull back, they just pull back like this. This is not what you want. When you're pulling back, think about pulling from the shoulder and opening up this way. Can you see the difference between, I'm going to have to angle my arm down, but between this and this? One, I'm pulling, right, rowing with my back, and with the other, I'm just kind of pulling my hand back. And that's something I see across the board for most back exercises. And a tip I like to give people, a lot of times people hear, oh, just like pull your elbows back, but that doesn't always work. So something I tell people is when you're holding onto the bar, let's say that my AirPod case is the bar, right? I want you to put your thumb over like this instead of squeezing around like this. And that's just going to take out your front delt and your bicep. And when you pull, I want you to think of driving through the pinky finger and making sure you allow your shoulder blade to move. So with the super erect posture, this is going to go into tips for people who are stuck in this super erect posture and don't have the option to come into a more kyphotic posture, is you want to let your shoulder blade move. You don't have to keep your shoulders always down and back. When you do that, you are not going to work your back. You work your back by allowing your scapula to move, by allowing your shoulder blade to move. And so when you're doing back exercises to work your back muscles, that is what you have to do. You have to let your shoulder blades move. If we look at this again, we could see that I'm doing that with the face pulls. You see right here, I'm letting my shoulder blades move. I'm letting them come forward and then pulling back. I'm not just keeping them stacked back and down. If I were to do that, the movement would stop here. And you can see my elbows aren't even fully extended. But the movement would essentially stop here, and I'm not getting a full eccentric of those muscles. So let your shoulder blades move if you're stuck in this erect position. Make sure when you're pressing, when you're pulling, you are letting your shoulder blades move and you're not letting them just be stuck down and back. So that's the tip that's going to help people that are stuck in that position. People who are stuck in a more kyphotic position, you want to just strengthen your back in the first place. And again, continue to allow your shoulder blades to move. Remember, there is no such thing as bad or good posture. The only bad posture I can think of is your inability to have access to all postures. You should be able to just sit in a chair and lounge and come into a more kyphotic position. You should be able to come up and stand erect if you want to, but you also should be able to live in the middle, in between both of those things. And that is what I would consider if there were to be good posture. And doing these exercises, strengthening your back, making sure you allow your shoulder blades to move, those are two things that are really going to help you achieve this. An additional tip I'll give is to incorporate dead hangs. So dead hangs is when you just hook onto a bar with your hands, hold onto a bar with your hands, and you allow your spine to decompress. If you think about strength training, it's just all spinal compression. If you're squatting, it's just weights, bringing you down like this, bringing you down to earth, compressing you essentially. And the dead hang will decompress you. Sometimes you'll hang and you'll hear some cracks and it'll feel pretty good. But decompressing the spine, getting some stretch, getting your lats to stretch out, getting your shoulders to stretch out, your shoulder blades to move, that is also going to help you with making sure your shoulder blades are moving when you're doing pulling or pressing movements. And this will also just open you up to better posture, especially, again, for those who are stuck in a more kyphotic position. Usually there's some lat tightness there as well. So definitely throw in some dead hangs. A final tidbit I will give is to make sure you also strengthen your lower back. As I mentioned, the reason why I like the chest supported row is because it takes the lower back out of the equation. But that's not to say that you shouldn't strength train your lower back. If you have lower back pain, and I'll have to do a completely different video on this, it's because your lower back can't tolerate your everyday life. So it can't tolerate the load, it can't tolerate your movements, your back doesn't have the capacity to tolerate your lifestyle in whatever way that means. And the only way to improve that is to improve your tolerance or increase your tolerance. And the best way to do that is to train it, strength train. So do lower back extensions, do side bends, twist, do some pull-off rotations. Make sure you're doing things to train and strengthen your lower back as well. It is a part of your core. I know when we think core, we think abs, and that is included, but your lower back is included in your core as well. So don't neglect that. And that, of course, because everything is holistic, everything feeds into another. Nothing works in isolation in your body. So improving your lower back will also improve your posture as well. I'm going to leave this video here. I don't want it to be too long, but I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you in the next one.